Welcome back to my channel. Everything Kody Brown built, everything he claimed would unite the Brown family, has crumbled before our eyes. A judge has officially permanently excluded him from Coyote Pass. Yes, permanently. The gavel has fallen, and the dream that was supposed to symbolize family unity has instead become Kody Brown's greatest public humiliation. But this didn't happen overnight. This ruling is the result of months of tense courtroom drama, emotional testimonies, and secrets buried for years. Fans have speculated endlessly about what really happened on Coyote Pass. But now, the truth is out, and it's far darker than anyone could have imagined. Let's rewind. Coyote Pass was supposed to be Kody Brown's crowning achievement. When the Browns moved to Flagstaff, Arizona, Kody painted a picture so grand, so cinematic, it was hard not to believe him. Standing over the empty desert landscape, he promised his wives, his children, and the cameras a forever home. A home where Christine could feel safe. A garden for Janelle to nurture. A space for Mary where she wouldn't feel left behind. And of course, a large, stable home for Robin and her children. But promises are cheap. And behind the scenes, cracks were forming. Financial disputes, secret accounts, favoritism, they quietly poisoned the dream. The land meant to symbolize family unity slowly transformed into a battlefield of betrayal. Years passed. The land remained empty. No foundations poured. No walls erected. Instead of building homes, Kody was building resentment. Christine was the first to speak out publicly. She revealed how Kody dodged every question about Coyote Pass, leaving her feeling manipulated and trapped. The dream was no longer a dream. It was a tool Kody used to control the family. Janelle, long loyal, eventually admitted her frustration too. She had invested her money, sacrificed stability, and waited patiently. And yet, she discovered that vast amounts of family funds had gone into Robin's mansion, leaving Coyote Pass untouched. The dream slipping away had become painfully clear. When the courtroom battle began, passions burned hotter than the Arizona sun. Christine and Janelle were united, determined to fight Kody like never before. In the courtroom, it was electric. Every eye fixed on them. Every whisper amplified. This wasn't just a legal hearing, it was a live season finale. No scriptwriters, no edits, just raw, unfiltered reality. The judge entered and silence fell. Today would decide the future of Coyote Pass and Kody Brown's legacy. Christine took the floor first. Her voice was steady but filled with years of suppressed anger. When we purchased Coyote Pass, it was supposed to be for all of us. We shared our money, our energy, our hopes. Kody made promises, but he manipulated them. He poured money into Robin's home while we were left waiting. He created false hope. He led us to believe in a vision he never intended to deliver. Gasps filled the room, not because she was weak, but because the truth hit like a lightning bolt. She recounted nights spent pleading for answers, for the dream house promised to her children. Excuses replaced honesty. Manipulation replaced love, and now, accountability was demanded. Then Janelle stood, calm, collected, but cutting like a blade. She presented the financial documents, receipts, bank statements, and evidence showing how funds from all four wives were meant to build Coyote Pass, but instead flowed into Robin's mortgage. I invested in this family, believing Kody's promises, Janelle said, and discovered my sacrifices built someone else's comfort, while my children were left with nothing. That was not the deal we agreed upon, the courtroom murmured. For years, fans had speculated about favoritism, but here it was undeniable, laid bare in black and white. Kody finally spoke, visibly rattled. He claimed every decision was for the family's benefit, that Robin's house came first for her children's stability, and that Coyote Pass remained the long-term goal. But when pressed, why had nothing been done for years? His confidence faltered. I'm the head of this family, he snapped. I make the decisions best for everyone. Instead of proving him, his words sealed his fate. Leadership without fairness, the lawyers argued, is nothing more than domination. The judge listened, studied the documents, observed the tension, and made it clear. Facts, not feelings, would decide this case. Robin's tears and pleas were silenced. The ruling would be based on reality, and reality was harsh. After hours of evidence and days of hearings, the moment arrived. The gavel came down. The words echoed through the courtroom. Kody Brown is permanently excluded from Coyote Pass. Shock, gasps, whispers, even a few cheers. The man who had always controlled everything had just lost the very land he claimed would unite the family. Coyote Pass wasn't just property. It was supposed to be a symbol of unity, a dream shared by all the wives. But in the end, it became the battlefield on which Christine and Janelle revealed years of betrayal. Every dollar, every promise, every hope had been misused. Christine's voice cut through the room once more. This was meant to be our land. Instead of sharing it, Kody used it to control us. He gave Robin a mansion while we were left waiting. Every year, the future never came. Janelle presented the evidence with precision, exposing every transaction, every redirection of funds, every betrayal. The truth was undeniable. Kody Brown, once the head of the family, had misused the trust of those who believed in him the most. The ruling was final. Justice, not promises, prevailed. And the story of Coyote Pass? It's far from over, but one thing is certain. Kody Brown has lost more than just land. He's lost the control he once wielded over his family, and the Brown family dream he claimed to protect has been forever fractured. Kody faltered. His words stumbled out broken and defensive. He spoke of Robin's children, their need for stability, the chaos of moving, how the other wives could simply wait. But every excuse, every hesitation, only fueled the fire of Christine and Janelle's lawsuit. Their attorneys pounced, painting Kody not as a husband or father, but as a self-appointed tyrant, someone who twisted family funds for favoritism while ignoring the rest. The more Kody tried to justify himself, the more his defense crumbled. He insisted he always intended to develop Coyote Pass, yet every argument he made was met with irrefutable evidence contradicting him. When asked why no permits had ever been filed to build homes on the land, he stammered, claiming the family wasn't ready. When pressed about Robin's mortgage being prioritized over any development at Coyote Pass, his frustration boiled over. "I'm the head of this family," he shouted, his voice cracking. "I make the decisions that are best for everyone." But rage does not erase paper trails. The documents before the judge told a starkly different story, one of misused funds, broken promises, and favoritism plain as day. The courtroom shifted when Christine's attorney produced a smoking gun, a string of text messages between Christine and Kody. In one, Christine pleaded desperately, "When will my house be built?" Kody's reply was cold, dismissive. "It's not your turn yet. Be patient." The attorney's question was sharp, cutting. How is it not her turn when she contributed as much or more than Robin? Kody tried to deflect, calling Christine unstable, insisting prioritizing her house was unwise. But the courtroom gasped. For the first time, it was clear. This wasn't about logistics or reason. It was punishment disguised as leadership. Robin, who had been silent until now, broke down in tears. She begged the judge to understand that Kody's intentions were pure, that Christine and Janelle were misrepresenting him. But her tears backfired. Christine's voice rang out, unwavering. "This isn't about tears. This is about truth." The judge nodded, a reminder that facts always outweigh emotion. Robin's defense began to collapse, piece by piece, under the weight of evidence. Every person in that courtroom could feel it, the tension, the betrayal, the moment of reckoning. Some of the Brown children, there to witness, looked crushed, their suspicions confirmed. The money meant to build their homes had gone elsewhere. Christine and Janelle's sacrifices, their heartbreak, their years of patience, they were finally being heard. Their attorney's closing words cut through the air. This is not just a property dispute. This is about promises broken, trust betrayed, and two women who gave everything only to receive nothing in return. Justice must be served, not only for them, but to show that manipulation can never replace fairness. Kody's lawyer attempted a last-minute defense, calling it a misunderstanding, insisting Kody always intended to follow through. But by now the story had been told, the proof laid bare. Christine and Janelle didn't just make their case, they destroyed Kody's credibility. The courtroom that once saw him as a commanding patriarch now saw him exposed. A man who preached unity but practiced favoritism. A husband who promised love but exerted control. A leader who claimed fairness yet sowed discord. And as the gavel fell for recess, one thing was undeniable. The fight over Coyote Pass was no longer a mere family feud. It had become a historic struggle, one that would define the future of the land and the legacy of Kody Brown, once and for all. Even Kody had pinned his hopes on Robin. She was supposed to humanize him, protect his image, and sway the judge. But truth has a way of piercing tears, and when Robin took the stand, her defense, intended to shield Kody, cracked under the pressure of irrefutable evidence, inconsistencies, and the unstoppable force of Christine and Janelle's righteous anger. Red-eyed, clutching tissues, Robin faced the court. Kody offered a nervous nod, but panic flickered across his face. Without her, his case was unraveling. The bailiff swore her in, and her attorney asked gently, "Mrs. Brown, why do you think Kody acted reasonably toward Coyote Pass?" Robin leaned forward, voice soft, trembling. "Kody wanted what was best for all of us. He wanted us to have homes on Coyote Pass, but setbacks kept happening. Financial losses, family conflicts, delays. He never intended to hurt anyone." A few court spectators softened, moved by her words. But Christine's attorney stood calm and precise, holding a thick stack of papers. The atmosphere shifted instantly. "Mrs. Brown," the attorney began, "you say Kody acted in the family's best interest. Can you explain why?" And in that moment, the room held its breath, knowing that the unraveling of Kody Brown's carefully constructed facade had only just begun. Over the past 5 years, Kody had funneled over $400,000 of collective family money into Robin's mortgage, while Christine and Janelle saw nothing. No investment, no progress on their promised homes. Robin's fingers gripped her tissue tighter as the weight of the accusations pressed down. I didn't know the amounts. I believed the money was going toward things we all agreed on," she stammered. The lawyer leaned forward, sharp and relentless. "So you didn't ask questions when your house was being paid for with funds contributed by Christine and Janelle?" Robin's eyes darted to Kody, searching for support, but he refused to meet her gaze. His jaw tightened, a silent admission of his own guilt. Whispers rippled through the courtroom. The unraveling had begun. Robin's defense, once her shield, was crumbling. Christine could no longer remain silent. Leaning forward, her voice rang out across the room, firm and unyielding. "Of course I knew. We all knew something was wrong. Every time I asked Kody when my home would be built, he told me to be patient." While Robin's mortgage vanished into thin air. The judge banged the gavel, attempting to restore order, but the damage was done. Christine's words hit like a hammer, and the jury of public opinion, the spectators, reporters, even those inside the courtroom, had already begun to turn against Robin. Desperation crept into Robin's voice as she tried to reclaim sympathy. "You don't understand how hard it's been for me. I've been attacked constantly, by the public, by my sister wives, by people who think I'm the reason for everything. Kody was just trying to make sure my kids had a safe home. That doesn't mean he doesn't love the others." Her tears echoed through the courtroom, but instead of compassion, she met cold, skeptical eyes. Janelle's attorney rose, calm but deadly precise. "This case isn't about emotion, Mrs. Brown, it's about justice. And the evidence proves that while you enjoyed your estate, the other wives received nothing but empty promises." The judge nodded, resolute. "This court rules on facts, not tears." Robin's emotional armor cracked, and Christine's team pressed the advantage. They produced property records showing that while Kody was promising progress at Coyote Pass, payments were being diverted solely to Robin's property. One document alone revealed $75,000 from the family account flowing directly into Robin's mortgage. Christine's attorney leaned in, piercing, "Mrs. Brown, did you ever question why none of this money went toward Christine's or Janelle's share of Coyote Pass?" Robin stammered, I left it up to Kody. I believed he knew what was best." The courtroom froze. The trap was set. Christine's voice cut through the air like steel. "So you benefited from financial decisions that hurt the other wives, and you didn't challenge them. This isn't about tears, Robin. This is about truth." Gasps filled the room. Witnesses leaned forward. Even the judge registered the force behind her words. That single statement became the defining moment of the trial. Robin, once a defender of Kody, now sat shattered, her tears meaningless, her voice powerless. Her defense, intended to shield him, had become the lever tipping the case against him. Kody's face darkened, fists clenched, jaw grinding. For the first time, the patriarch appeared less commanding, more desperate. A man watching his last line of defense crumble in real time. Social media erupted. Fans dissected every gesture, every tear. Kody, once the puppet master, had allowed Robin to bear the brunt of the attack, and it had backfired spectacularly. Robin tried one final defense. "We're a plural family. People don't understand how hard it is. Kody carries the burden of all of us, and it's not fair to blame him." The judge leaned forward, voice cutting, absolute. "Mrs. Brown, this is not a case about the challenges of plural marriage. This is about the abuse of funds and the breach of contract. Stick to your testimony. The courtroom fell silent. Robin's final attempt to save face had been quashed. Her defense lay in tatters. Outside fans exploded online. Hashtags like Talk Truth Not Tears and Coyote Pass Justice trended instantly. Those who had long suspected favoritism toward Robin felt vindicated. Christine and Janelle's supporters hailed their courage, celebrating the women who fought not just for themselves, but for all those who had ever felt used or ignored. When Robin left the stand, she was defeated. Head bowed, shoulders slumped, tissues damp in hand. She avoided Christine and Janelle's gaze, who sat united and unwavering. Kody offered a tentative hand on her shoulder, but it only highlighted their isolation. The once mighty head of the Brown clan now faced the full force of justice, his empire of control crumbling. In every courtroom drama, there comes a tipping point where truth outshines deception, where tears fall and justice prevails. For Robin and Kody, that moment arrived when her defense collapsed. She had entered the court as his shield, his protector, the last hope for his integrity, and she left as the living embodiment of favoritism, manipulation, and betrayal. Christine's words lingered in the room. This isn't about tears. This is about truth. The writing was on the wall. Kody Brown's reign had ended, and no amount of weeping could reverse it. The courtroom, electric for weeks with testimony, financial documents, and emotional collapse, now awaited the final act, the verdict. And when it came, it was more devastating than anyone could have imagined. Kody Brown was permanently barred from ever setting foot on Coyote Pass, the crown jewel of his empire. The land he had boasted about for years was legally off limits, a permanent symbol of his downfall. The day of the verdict came like a storm. Journalists swarmed, camera flashes strobing, and the world waited to witness history being rewritten before their eyes. The morning sun barely touched the courthouse steps when fans of Sister Wives had already gathered, cameras flashing, microphones extended, eager to witness history. Reporters jockeyed for position. Anyone remotely connected to the case was here, and the anticipation was electric. Inside, the room felt almost suffocating. Christine sat in the front row, hands interlocked, jaw set, radiating quiet determination. Beside her, Janelle remained calm but unyielding, her eyes fixed on the bench, measuring every detail. Across the aisle, Kody slumped in his chair next to Robin, his usual bravado stripped away. For the first time, he appeared small, vulnerable, like a man on the edge of losing everything he thought he controlled. The judge entered, robes flowing, gavels in hand, moving with a solemn weight. The room fell into complete silence. Every cough, every nervous shuffle, every shallow breath sounded deafening. Papers were fanned, eyes scanned, pens scribbled. Each moment stretched, building tension like the calm before a storm. And then the judge spoke. This court has examined all evidence, including financial records, property deeds, and personal testimony. What was intended as a symbol of family unity has instead been wielded as a tool of manipulation and control. Promises were ignored. Agreements were disregarded. Trust was broken. Gasps echoed across the room. The words landed like hammers. To Christine and Janelle, it was vindication. To Kody, heartbreak. The judge continued, laying out the verdict point by point. Family money, meant to benefit all, had been diverted to Robin's mortgage while Christine and Janelle were left with empty promises. Permits to develop Coyote Pass had never been filed despite years of assurances. And perhaps the most damning revelation, Kody had attempted to transfer shares of the property to himself and Robin without consent from the other wives. Each detail drove another dagger into Kody's credibility. He stared at the table, eyes fixed downward, silent. Robin clutched his hand, tears streaming down her cheeks, but no amount of sorrow could erase the cold, hard facts. Then came the moment no one expected. The judge leaned forward, voice steady, measured. In light of the severity of these actions, this court rules that Mr. Kody Brown is permanently barred from entering, occupying, or in any way accessing Coyote Pass property. Furthermore, legal possession and majority ownership are granted to Christine Brown and Janelle Brown. The courtroom erupted. Gasps, whispers, even applause broke out before the gavel restored order. Kody's head shot up, eyes wide, disbelief written across his face. "Permanently banned?" he whispered, as if the words could not be real. Robin buried her face in her hands, weeping uncontrollably. Christine's expression, in contrast, glowed with triumph. Janelle closed her eyes briefly, allowing the relief to wash over her. This was no ordinary victory. It was total, irrevocable, undeniable. The judge addressed the courtroom further. This decision was not taken lightly. However, when one party consistently shows favoritism, mismanagement, and manipulation to the detriment of others, the court must intervene. This property was purchased with communal resources, and Mr. Brown's conduct demonstrates he cannot be relied upon to honor mutual agreements. Stripping his access and ownership is necessary to protect those who acted in good faith. The courtroom understood the implications immediately. Kody had betrayed the trust of his family, and justice had finally caught up with him. Christine, feeling the weight lift, later told reporters, "Years of frustration, broken promises, and manipulation were finally acknowledged. I feel free for the first time." When given a moment to speak, Christine stood tall, unflinching. "This land was never about control. It was about family. I am grateful the court recognized that truth." Polite applause broke out, the audience clearly moved by her composure and courage. Janelle, ever the quiet force, simply nodded in agreement. She had spent years keeping the peace, sacrificing her own stability to support the family. Now justice had been served on her behalf. "This wasn't about winning," she said in later interviews. "It was about fairness. And today we finally got it." Meanwhile, Kody's reaction was explosive. He slammed his fists on the table, red-faced, shouting at both his attorney and Robin, "This is not justice. This is betrayal. I built this family. I sacrificed, and now you strip me of everything." The judge's gavel came down sharply. "Mr. Brown, sit down." His tirade only reinforced the narrative Christine and Janelle had fought to expose. Kody had always treated family finances as his own, disregarding fairness entirely. Outside the courthouse, the news spread like wildfire. Headlines screamed, "Kody Brown banned from Coyote Pass." Social media exploded. Fans celebrated Christine and Janelle's victory as poetic justice. Memes, hashtags, and videos circulated, applauding the women who had dared to stand up for themselves. Kody's empire of control had crumbled, and his public image suffered irreversible damage. Christine and Janelle now held the keys to Coyote Pass, but it was never just about land. It was about reclaiming agency, reclaiming their voices, and restoring justice. Christine envisioned a retreat where family could gather freely. Janelle planned a home built with care, sustainability, and love, a legacy for her children and grandchildren, one untainted by deceit or manipulation. Together, they envisioned a new future, a family compound not controlled by Kody, but by women empowered to lead. For Kody, the verdict was devastating. Excluded from the land he had once called his crowning achievement, publicly humiliated, and isolated from the very family he claimed to protect, his legacy was in ruins. Insider reports suggested he raged behind closed doors, blaming Christine, Janelle, and even Robin. Yet the reality was undeniable. His empire had collapsed. Robin, too, faced fallout. Her defense had failed spectacularly, and social media ridiculed her tears and favoritism. The mansion she once considered a sanctuary now symbolized betrayal. Its foundations paid for by money diverted from Coyote Pass. Her children, confused and criticized online, struggled to navigate the aftermath. In contrast, Christine's victory was historic. Once silenced and overlooked, she emerged as a symbol of courage and empowerment. Hashtags like Team Christine and I Queen Christine trended worldwide. She had reclaimed her voice and secured justice not only for herself, but for women everywhere who had ever been ignored, dismissed, or manipulated. Janelle, the quiet warrior, had been the unshakable pillar. Her calm persistence had tipped the scales, proving that steady, unwavering resolve could triumph over favoritism and deceit. With majority ownership now in hand, she planned to finally build the home she had long envisioned, a place of security, love, and continuity for generations to come. Mary, the first wife, watched from the sidelines, estranged but quietly satisfied that justice had prevailed. Meanwhile, the adult children were divided. Some celebrated Christine and Janelle's victory. Others, particularly Robin's, struggled to reconcile the family's shattered dynamics. The dream of a united Brown family was gone. In its place, a new era had begun, one defined by accountability, empowerment, and the assertion of truth. And as Christine and Janelle left the courthouse side by side, heads held high, Kody remained slumped in his chair, a fallen patriarch, exiled from his vision, staring at the ruins of the empire he had built on favoritism, manipulation, and control. Coyote Pass was no longer his kingdom. It belonged to the women who refused to back down. And the world watched, inspired as a new chapter began, one where justice, fairness, and courage finally triumphed. Fairness and courage finally triumphed.